Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe Gangemi. And Joe, I got to ask you, I think it was yesterday or today was National Bourbon Day. And now I like a good bourbon. You know, on the rocks, neat, it's fine. What's your hard liquor of choice? If you had to choose one, what's your go-to? Is it tequila? Is it bourbon? Is it vodka? What is it?
Ooh, man. I would probably say lately it's been tequila. It's it's pretty good in the summertime. It's starting to get pretty warm out there, so tequila. But I also like a nice Glenlivet on the rocks as well, which
All
is
right.
a scotch.
Well, that's good. So, we'll have to get one of them soon. Tell us a little more about SuiteRecording. Tell us what makes this place so wonderful.
Yeah, man. At SuiteRecording, we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of podcasting, YouTube, and video content to generate quality content for themselves and to reach their audience in a fun and unique way. So we can help you with everything from planning your podcast or your content brand to recording, of course, and production and even publication. So if you're interested in learning more, contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
All right. We have a great show today. Actually, all these panelists have seen me perform. So, people, if you ever come to one of my comedy shows, it's a good chance you'll end up on this show. I'm just saying. So, if you want to come out, every other Thursday, only one show in August and one show in July. I'll go over that later. It's a good way to get on the show. Come out and support my comedy because I'm a jerk like that. And we have my buddy. We have from Modern Classical Chefs. It's Dan Ninerell. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, great. Great to be here and looking forward to it.
And from Andrea Locke Interior Design, it's Andrea Locke. How you doing, Andrea?
Hi, how are you, Steve? Thanks for
Oh,
having me.
You're welcome. And from Orbis Payment Systems, Ann Casey. How you doing, Ann?
I'm great, thank you. And I love your comedy show. I'm bummed that I missed last night, but I'll be at the next one.
All right. Now, Dan, tell us a little about what Modern Classical Chefs is.
All right. We are personal chef service, premier personal chef service of South Jersey. We provide our clients with amazing restaurant quality dining experiences right in the comfort of their own home. So we serve from Princeton, Philly Burbs, and the entire Jersey Shore down to Cape May.
All right. And Andrea, tell us a little about what you do.
Yes, Andrea Locke with Andrea Locke Interior Design. I am a residential and commercial interior designer. I would say I'm on a smaller scale, kind of boutique firm. I also have invested in home staging inventory. So I own a lot of home staging inventory that I store. So I do vacant home stages for builders and flippers in the South Jersey area.
Okay. And how about Ann? Tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a day trader and I also do a coaching program for 30 days where people can come in so they can test drive day trading and our indicators to see if it's something that they want to commit to create an additional line of income in their financial position.
Okay, I got a question. Now, Ann, we'll start with you. How did you end up being a day trader? Because you all have very different occupations, and I know you all didn't just start them just like getting out of college and doing them. Because I know you've all had different jobs, which most people have, unless you're like an accountant and been with a company for a long time. But Ann, how did you end up as a day trader? How did you get into this line of work?
Yeah, so I started looking for a way in 2020 to bring in additional money on the side of a full-time position in sales because my two daughters were in high school at the time, and I have a goal for them to graduate college debt-free. And I had some money put aside for that, but not enough. And so I thought I can do something on the side that'll bridge the gap. And I looked at a lot of different things, and what I settled on was day trading. And so I actually traded for about a year after investing into an education. And I left that full-time position in sales. So now I trade anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half a day. And then but the balance of my time, I work with people that are interested in exploring trading and I coach them through that 30-day program.
Okay. How about you, Dan? How what? I know you've had a crazy road. How do you end up being a chef?
Wow, I did the corporate thing for about 36 years, and they sent us all home during COVID. I was a financial analyst up in Princeton for a pharmaceutical company, logistics and supply chain. That's what I did since I was 18. And I always cooked, I was cooking for 30 some years. I did all the events in my home and all the relatives, everybody that came over. And, we're home and 100% remote. And I'm thinking, man, when am I going to retire? 65, 67? Like, there's got to be more to life than this, right? And like right in my office here, I got my TV and I watch YouTube a lot. And here comes this coach, and he'd say, hey, we help get kitchen cooks and home cooks to start their own culinary business. So I'm like, well, that sounds pretty interesting. And I signed up for his coaching. He mentored me, and Modern Classical Chefs was born.
All right. All right. How about you, Andrea? How'd you get into the interior design game?
I've always loved interior design, always been passionate about creating different spaces, but to be honest with you, it wasn't until later after my divorce when I kind of had to figure out what I was going to do. Like I stayed at home with 3 kids, so I really hadn't had a career. That was my career, being home with my kids. So um after that happened, I'm like, okay, what am I good at? What do I love to do? And I was so passionate about design, but I just honestly thought that everybody was good at it. Everybody could do this and figure out how to design a space. So when I figured out that it was truly a gift that I had and something I was good at, that's when I started honing in on how I can do this like for a living, and it made it easy because COVID came along, and then I lost my commercial job in design, and boom, Andrea Locke Interior Design was born. I mean, that's how pretty much it came about.
Okay, well, no, you're all newer at what you're doing. I mean, it's like, this is what's great because this question I want to really ask, it interests me. You're all newer at what you do, so we'll start with you, Dan. What challenges have you faced? Because you can never tell people if they've had challenges or not, because we live in a world of like LinkedIn where everyone's like everything's great. You're going to network, everything's great, but we run into challenges. Everyone runs into them. Everyone runs into it. But Dan, what are some of the challenges that you've run in? Because as I said, all three of you are newer at what you do. What have you faced, Dan?
You got to create this thing from scratch. When you work for somebody, you have a defined role, like this is your job, this is what you do. When you're on your own, you have to do everything. You got to be the accountant, you got to be the marketing guy, you got to, be the sales guy, and you got to wear many hats. And I think my business career really prepared me well for the back end of my business. But I spent a lot of time on marketing and trying to figure out those kind of things, client acquisition. So I put a lot of time and effort into that.
Okay, how about you, Andrea? What challenges have you faced?
Interesting, similar to what Dan said. Um, just trying to balance this, getting into business. You think, what I felt comfortable with was design, right? That's really what I love to do. So that's really what I feel good at. I don't have to question it, and I have that confidence there. But with everything else, wow, like I was in business with my ex-husband. He was a contractor. So I was involved in the design aspects, but not running the company. So doing the financials, um, paying clients pay, running the accounting, being out there to network and get the jobs. It's all a struggle, and it's also time consuming. So that really is kind of, in the beginning had me spinning, and it was more so because you can only divide yourself so much. So, um, yeah, I think when you get to a point where you grow, I think it's very important to know when you have to start delegating some of the work because, in order to grow, in order to continue to succeed and be successful, you definitely need help with it. So it's interesting how that is, how that works.
Okay. How about you, Ann? What have been some of the challenges you faced?
Yeah, so a lot of what Dan and Andrea said, I think are true for all people that are starting a new business. Those pieces that aren't our area of expertise, such as marketing. Marketing's been a big challenge for me because I don't have a marketing mindset. So I've had to figure a lot of things out and have made mistakes along the way. That's every new business owner is making mistakes along the way, and hopefully learning the lessons from that. The other piece for me as a trader is that trading can be in a really emotional thing. And so managing my mindset and my emotions around trading, that's pretty much a constant for me, is working on that, because emotions have no place in trading, but we're emotional beings. So that's something that I'm always working on.
Okay. Now, I've met all of you, and I like all of you. You know, that's why you're here, and I've met you at
We
networking
like you
events.
too.
Yeah. But no, but it's like I'm thinking about this next question because, I had a networking event, Cocktails with Cooper, and last week I was worried because there was 2 other events, but then 55 people showed up. So people chose mine, and I think that's because they go in and it's a very chill attitude. For some reason, none of the assholes in the business world gravitate towards me. So that's what I think why they chose me. But when it comes to your business, like Andrea, why should someone choose you? I can go to any interior designer. I can go to anyone who stages a home. Why am I, as a prospective customer, going to choose you?
You know what? I'm there from the beginning to the end, and committed to making my client happy. That's truly the one thing and the only thing I care about. Um, why to come to me? I think I put myself in my client's shoes. In other words, I think about the money that they're spending. I think about the trust issues that you have when you're a homeowner and you're, putting your trust into this person, to see from beginning to end what the overall look is going to be, and can this person achieve, can this person achieve this and make me happy? So I think there's another reason I have, a pretty good eye for design, and I have definitely some higher skill sets with colors and materials and different combinations of furniture and textures that I think a lot of designers are missing. But I think it's more or less doing research and figuring out who your connection is, who you vibe with. I think it's easy to figure that out, right? With friendships and networking, like you just said, Steve, like who do you vibe with? Who do you like who, has that set of, you know, principles that you do. And I think that's one indicator for someone to select a designer is like everything else. You got to go with your gut, your vibe, their energy. There's a lot to weigh in. And when it comes down to it, I ask for your trust and make sure that I will be there from the beginning of your project to the end. There's no going anywhere. We're in it together, and we work through those issues or problems and things like that. So.
Okay. It's funny. My mother-in-law's an interior designer, and whenever you guys are always thinking, because whenever she comes over, she's like, there should be a carpet rug there. I'm like, no, there shouldn't be. I'm like, get out. I will not put a damn rug there. She's like, and I always argue with her. She's like, you should plant. No. Anyway, and why should we pick you? Why am I coming to you?
Yeah, so 2 things. One is that the company that's behind me that houses the indicators and actually provides all the training to traders is a 15-year-old company that's debt-free. And we've had 4,500 people come through the program to learn how to be day traders. So many, 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 many years of experience and success in doing what we do. As far as working with me personally, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way as a trader, and I'm a genuine person. So I tell people what my mistakes were. One is that I didn't focus enough on this in the beginning. I actually thought that I could trade on one computer and do other work on another. And it took me a long time to figure that out, that doesn't work. So I just really am honest with people. And I'm also honest with people if I think it's going to be something that they can accomplish in the long term. I sometimes get people that come into the coaching program and they're just not grasping what we're doing. And I will share with them that I don't think it's a great fit for them, because I don't want someone making a commitment into education and then having it not work for them. So between the two, between the wealth of experience behind me and the parent company and my genuineness, I would think are the two top reasons that I would say that people should work with me.
Okay. Now, Dan, I want to have a dinner. I want a Chateaubriand for one. Okay. Why am I coming to you?
I'm gonna say get someone else because I got a minimum of two. All right. So you and Joanne. But no, like, when I go out networking, like, listening to Andrea and Ann, we all share that same kind of thing. But I think, when I'm in that room, I want to find someone that's entertaining themselves, or they know people that do a lot of entertaining, right? So that's what I'm trying to get to the root of. But what makes these people want to hire me is because I'm a professional. I think again, my corporate training in the business world really prepared me well. I mean, there's plenty of guys and girls out there, I'm sure, that could cook me under the table, but I guarantee I'll outbusiness them because I have SOPs, I have a sales process, I have systems, and I am a professional. So these people, when they deal with modern classical chefs, they know they're getting a premier service. We can make it as grand as they want or as casual as they want. We'll do that. We follow up. We make them feel like kings and queens. That's the experience we want to give them. And I work very hard at my craft to do that for my clients, and I take that very seriously.
Okay. So I'm someone who always flies by the seat of his pants. I'm not a goal setter. I've never set goals. I've fallen into stuff my whole life. That's not me. It's the thing. And some people plan and plan out, and because you guys all have your own businesses somewhat, you have to plan goals. And have you set any goals for the next 6 months? Do you plan out ahead, or have you set any personal or business goals for the next 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe in setting goals, and I have them written down in my eyesight so that I'm always kind of keeping them in mind. Not necessarily as good on the execution as I would like to be, but that's really more about me being more focused on these things. Professionally, I mean, I'd like to have more people coming into the trial program to explore what we're doing so that they can see if it's something for them. From a trading standpoint, I certainly have, goals of how much I want to increase my accounts by. And then, yeah, personally, of course, I mean, there's, always the things that people of this similar age of mine are looking at, like, being healthier and, some personal goals as well.
Okay. How about you, Dan? You a goal setter? You got goals for Modern Classical Chef?
You said 6 months. How about 3 to 5 years out? I'm looking at the big picture. I want to take my company regionally first and then nationally. I mean, that's my goal. So right now I'm spending a lot of time working in the business, and I use the Gordon Ramsay analogy, right? You go down to Hell's Kitchen or Gordon Ramsay's pub in Atlantic City. Gordon's not cooking your meal, right? He's got the systems in place, and he's got his staff that do that, and he runs the business. He runs the culinary business, and that's ultimately what I want to do. So got to put the hard work in now. But yeah, 6 months, we're going to be busy down the shore, this summer, end of the year, already starting to get projections for next year, and 3 to 5 years out. I'm thinking big.
Okay, well, when you become big, you can cook me beef Wellington. I always watch Gordon Ramsay cook that on Hell's Kitchen, and I've never had beef Wellington. When I was in LA, there was one place in Sherman Oaks.
Really?
Yeah, there was one. Well, yeah, there was a place in Sherman Oaks that served it, but I never got over there. And then when me and Joanne were in the Dominican Republic, they had American night at the. We were on a. We didn't know it was all Spanish speaking. All inclusive, and they had beef Wellington, but it wasn't like real beef Wellington. Now, it wasn't like Gordon Ramsay. It was like this long beef Wellington. So when you start making it huge, I want some damn free beef
I
Wellington.
got you covered.
All right, Andrea, goals. What are your goals?
Goals. Yes, I am goal oriented. I always have been. So I keep a project board and I also keep a dream board, goal board, whatever you would want to keep. And like Ann, they're always I'm always there looking at them, visualizing. And yes, this year it's really weird. I only had two. They were big ones, right? Financially, I was upping my income. Like I had a visual manifestation of increasing my income a whole lot, and that was going to take a lot, right? That takes a lot. So and then the other one was a website, which also was going to be costly within the $8,000 range, according to a few people I consulted with. So they were the two big goals. And under the umbrella of the website were professional pictures that I never got. So there we go with the marketing. I have to, you have to hire a photographer to get professional pictures instead of the pictures that you take. So yeah, so it was a lot. So those two things were my goals this year, and so far so good.
All
So
right. Well, that's good. It's good. It's always good to do goals. So we're all positive people. I'm a curmudgeon. I'm a little bit of a curmudgeon, and that's I talk about that on stage. But we're all positive people. But it's the real world, okay? And once again, I go back to social media. Everyone's always planting a smile on their face. This couple looks great, and then a week later, holy shit, they're divorced. I mean, you see that stuff happen all the time because everyone wants this fake persona. Because they don't, which is funny because I appreciate people who are real, and I think because from comedy, I can see right like that if someone's fake. I mean, I've seen stuff and I go, oh my god, I don't even want to go near that person. But so saying that, we all have bad days. It's a given. So we'll start with you, Dan. How do you adjust? Like, how do you get out of it when you have a bad day? Because I'm the type that I used to be like, if I didn't nail an audition when I was in LA, it would mess with me for like 6 hours, even though part of my might not have been right for me. It was that mental thing. It's a sense of rejection. How do you get out of a bad day, Dan? If you have it, because maybe you screw up when you're cooking mentally, customer doesn't know, or maybe you didn't get that client you wanted. How do you snap out of it?
Do you remember when Ann was talking earlier about the mindset that she uses when she does the trading? So you take the emotion out of it and you use your mindset. So when you have a bad day, and I've had some bad days, and it's like I'm kicking myself in the butt, and I'm like, you know what? You turn it off and you think about the next thing coming up. You analyze what you did, and you learn from the mistakes, right? Like everyone's going to make mistakes, oh my God, like no one's ever going to hire me. No, you stop that negative thinking. You say, okay, I did that wrong this time, but guarantee you next time, this is what I'm going to do. So it's all about mindset. All about mindset as an entrepreneur. You have to have the proper mindset to get through all your challenges.
Okay, how about you, Andrea? How do you snap out of it?
What Dan had said made me think of something. I can have some bad days. It's hard sometimes dealing with clients, and then also when you're your own critic, which I've been very critical of myself my whole life. It's just a negative thing. So mindset is like everything. And when it gets down to the nitty-gritty of it, I really have to like change that, like kind of like switch it, like, all right, I messed up. You know, I messed this project up or whatever, or I messed something up. But another thing that I thought about was just opening up to your friends too and your colleagues, because let's talk about being real. If your friends aren't real, or you can't go to your friends and say, hey, can I talk to you about this? Like, really, like I'm chasing my money on this project, or I'm doing, people will understand, and they'll be able to support you with that too, and kind of give you a little bit of heads up too. So I think having a better mindset, positive, but also not being afraid to open up to other people who can be mentors and can be ahead of you with the business game, I think is also helpful too. You know, why not? I mean, you know,
Okay. How
worst that
about
could
you,
happen.
Ann? How are you? How do you snap out of it?
Yeah, so echoing on what both Dan and Andrea said, the mindset stuff is so important. We have to listen to what our internal dialogue is, and to question the stuff that's negative, because sometimes we tend to really beat ourselves up for things and it's just not true. You know, you might make a mistake, you know, maybe I put a bad trade in. Well, that doesn't mean I'm a terrible trader. It just means I made one mistake. And so evaluate and recommit. Take a look at the quote unquote mistake I made, which is actually an opportunity to learn more, and identify what I did wrong. And then I'm not going to do that again the next time. The other thing for me is I'm big on focusing on all the positives in life, even the really, you know, little things. You know, if it's a beautiful, we had a gorgeous week in New Jersey here this week. And so when I go outside to take the dog for a walk, I'm just really thankful and grateful that it's such a beautiful day. And I have thousands of those per day because I'm really committed to recognizing the things that are beautiful and wonderful in my life. And so then that picks up my whole mood. I'm not all down in the dumps because I made a quote unquote mistake, but there's so many other things that I'm grateful for that just kind of automatically picks me up anyway.
Okay. I was just thinking when I said snap out of it, I always think of Moonstruck when Cher
Yeah,
slaps
snap out of it.
snap out of it. It always pops in my
Yeah.
head, that scene. That's like, so, okay. So we know how you snap out of things and all that. Now, and be honest, because you can be honest, because this isn't, as I said, it's not, you have to say, I'm great. Oh, look at me. Oh. But what is it? We'll start with you. What's a characteristic that you like about yourself? What is something that you think is a really strong trait or characteristic that you really say, man, I'm lucky I have this?
I don't take things too seriously. You know, I think that, you know, like my tagline there is one life, live it. Like we only have one opportunity here. And so, you know, some things you have to take seriously, but I, I don't think we need to get too caught up in the negative details of life. Like I said earlier, like I think we need to focus on the positive. So I think my lighthearted attitude, you know, I'm pretty fun and I like to laugh a lot. So I think I'm enjoyable to work with. Most of my clients seem to think the same. So I would say that's probably one of the best things about me.
How about you, Andrea?
Um, a characteristic you said that
Yeah,
is,
characteristic or a trait that you're happy you could, like me. Someone told me, you know, I can make people laugh. That's one of the things. I'm funny. I mean, not like I don't try to be. I'm not one of these
um,
jackasses who goes, ah, look at me. But no, something that you like about yourself. Characteristic you like.
I think that, um, I think that maybe it would be, understanding or empathy or something of that sort. In the lane of the fact that I've been through a lot of life, right? Like I feel like I can be open and helpful where people can share their negative things as well as their positive things, and I think that that's important too to share. So I feel like being able to be around anyone and everyone. I feel like I offer something that maybe is genuine, that they feel that they can be open with me, which I like. I mean, that's probably one of the most valuable things I think in relationships, is the realness and genuinity of people, you know? So maybe that understanding, empathy.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, good. How about you, Dan? What do you like about that Dan Ninerell? What are you sitting there go? I like this about me.
I like that I was blessed with an outgoing personality. You know, I used to be shy, and I went to public school for 8 years, and then my parents sent me to a Catholic high school, and I feel like I got a chance to reinvent myself, and you know, then this just it poured out. Like I love people, I love meeting interesting people, I love talking to people. You know, when I go to your network event or other network events, I know a lot of people and I always say hi to them, but I want to go and meet that guy or girl in the corner that I never met before. And like, you know, what do? You know, tell me about, you know, what we do, how can I help you? like I'm very comfortable talking with anybody from from a doctor down to you know, a dock worker or something. I mean, I can pretty much have a conversation with anybody.
All right. Interesting fact. Dan Ninerell went to high school with my wife's college roommate. See that?
That's right.
Small world. Linda Schoen. Um, Andrea, what motivates you?
Um, my kids, that simple. One of the things that when I went through a divorce and I struggled a bit was, motivation, right? Why would I do this? Why should I? Why not just go work for an interior design firm? And it was my kids that motivated me, knowing in the future what Anne had said about wanting to be able to take care of them and not have, debts and things like that. I believe that, when you have children, automatically, I think as a mom, you just want to, you're forever there to want to be able to help and to facilitate and teach and have them learn. So I think that's one of my motivations. And another one is knowing that prior to when I first started college, knowing that there was a whole different Andrea there, but I went in the direction of motherhood and getting married early and having children, that I never really did anything for myself. So I'd say um there's a really strong aspect about myself that I want to be able to do something to prove for myself that I could do this, so self-motivation and then children, I would say.
Okay. How about you, Dan? What motivates you?
Personally, my wife motivates me. She's always been the entrepreneurial one, and she was light years ahead of me. So she always pushed me she saw something in me I never saw, for years. So I'm always in debt to her. And I know she's going to watch this, so I want her to know that. Professionally, what motivates me is to keep a roof over my head and food on the table. So I don't sit around and watch TV all night. I'm always thinking, what's the next move? What's the next thing? Come home from a long day and there's stuff I got to do, and I make sure I do it before I go to bed, even though I'm exhausted. So, I that highly motivates me.
Okay, so if your wife is watching, I'm going to tell your wife this. The last commercial, I started to like Gus the Groundhog, but then I just saw one that he was in a car with the kid with the
Yeah,
beard, and
the
I hate
guy
him.
with the long hair.
I hate him again. So your wife can know we both still hate the Gus Groundhog. That's me and Dan's wife bonded over the hatred of Gus the Groundhog. And what motivates you?
Well, I can't stand Gus either. That's what motivates
Oh,
me.
all right.
So annoying to me. I don't know why. So for me, it's that vision, and I know we all have it, that vision of the highest and best version of myself. And so I'm always trying to work to improve to be more like that. I'll call it a perfect vision of myself that I know that I can be, and I'm always moving towards that. That's my motivation. I do also, to Andrea's point, I have two daughters. They're 20 and 22 now. And so they're my motivation as well. But I find because they're now technically adults, I struggle a little bit to say that. But I've shifted a little bit away from focusing on them and more on focusing on myself, because of the fact that, yeah, they're adults. Like my job, it's not done, but it's certainly shifted.
Okay. Now, we all have important people in our lives. Maybe a mentor, maybe a business coach, whatever you have. And I have people when I was younger in my career that really looked out for me, helped me develop as a comic. They got me in with the right people. They took an affinity to me and it worked out. And I also have an English teacher that taught me, that what I wrote was funny. So there's a few important people in my life that I look back on, and it's helped to shape who I am. We're going to start with you, Ann. Who is someone who has helped shape who you are that you look back and go, you know what? I owe this person a little bit.
That's a really good question. I like this one, Steve. So there's quite a few people that come to mind over the years. I'm a big fan of Mark Cuban. I like where he's coming from with um, having a more kind of community sense about how he operates his business. The two founders of the trading company that I'm with, they're really about empowering people to improve their financial well-being. And I like how they do things, and they're very genuine people. I think those are the main ones that come to mind currently, but there's been a lot certainly over my lifetime.
Okay, how about you, Dan? Who's someone that's important in your life?
Well, I told you about my wife, again, I mean, we've been together, it'll be 30 years in July. So she has, like I said, she's always pushed me to be better. She saw things I didn't see. And I am like eternally grateful for that, because she was right, and she steered me in that right direction. And professionally, I know you have a mixed feeling about business coaches, but I think it's important for every business owner to have a business coach or mentor. And my mentor is Chef Andres Hinojosa from the Chefpreneur movement. He's the guy that I was talking about, that when I started my business, I saw him. He helps, people start their professional culinary business. And he taught me so much, and like things just resonated in my head. And I have his number on speed dial. Like, I'm graduated, launched, but I can still call the guy, and we'll talk about things. And I think every business owner, needs to bounce ideas off of someone that's above them, to help you grow.
How about you, Andrea?
Um, Mentorship is a unique topic, but I would say there's not one person in my life who has helped me succeed or, you know, talk to me about succeeding. I think that I gravitate towards people who I know fit my vision of success, and it's not always about money. So I feel that when they are doing something that I see is unique and working for them, then that's kind of who I open up to and talk to. And if they are open, to receiving that or helping me, then I kind of like to hone in and listen to what they say. So it gives me an idea of maybe some of the different things that I can do in business, or, kind of hear how they succeed. So there's so many people. My parents are support for me, but like I said, there are so many people who have already helped me. Um,
Okay. Yeah, you brought up success, and there's success and there's happiness. And they're not always hand in hand, because there's some really
Mm.
successful people who are miserable. So we're going to start with you,
Correct.
Dan. Uh, what is success to you, and then what is happiness to you, or do you not see a difference? We'll start with you, Dan.
Yeah, there is a difference. Absolutely. Success is
To you,
such a
success to you.
success to me is, hey, I've made it, and now I don't have to worry about money anymore. I have enough money to cover my finances. I can join Ann's program now and day trade to make a little money on the side. I don't have to worry about bills. Happiness, though, money is not a direct um linear line to happiness. So I think happiness is again goes back to the mindset. And you have to think about, the positives you have, like, hey, I'm alive, right? Someone just died today, right? I woke up this morning. I can enjoy this beautiful weather, this sunshine, this warm, beautiful weather, and that makes me happy. So not hand in hand, two totally different things.
Okay. How about you, Andrea? What is success to you, and what is happiness?
um, well, let's start with happiness. I think happiness refers to being present and being in the moment without any wants or needs from any other aspects around you. You know, daily life, a picnic here on a Saturday, and not sitting there thinking about money or thoughts of what you need to do. Like, kind of just, to me, happiness is a moment in time. And I do, be honest, I struggle with that. I struggle sometimes with success, and success, I feel, is not a monetary thing, but it is a journey. So between the two of them, they're very different, but I definitely feel like with success and happiness, it definitely relates more to a journey and a story of yourself and who you are, rather than, you know, something itemized. I mean, it's easier sometimes for me to identify what happiness and what success isn't sometimes, rather than what it is. But I think it's a learning process, and it's something that you kind of journey with. It's not something that just ends up like, okay, now I'm happy, or now I'm successful. I think it's just a continuous thing. It's a growth thing.
Okay. How about you, Ann? Success, happiness.
Yeah, I completely agree with Andrea on success. I think that bar is always moving. You achieve one level and then it's like, okay, that's great. I accomplished that, and now I want to get to this next level. And that's in all, pillars of my life, if it be my trading, or if it be my coaching business, or my health and wellness, or my relationships, or my financial life, or my spirituality, like all the different things that are important to me. I'm always moving towards that high and best version of myself. But when I get to a new level, then there's always another thing to pursue. So I agree. I think success is a journey, not really a destination with little stops along the way. Happiness, I think, really is, it's really just about accepting what is in this particular moment, and seeing that most of the time, there's not anything really to be unhappy about in the particular moment. There's not a current threat. And so just appreciating what this moment has, and being present in it, and, seeing what's beautiful about this particular moment.
Here, I'll tell you though, if I go to a miniature golf course and Gus the Groundhog is there, I'm not going to be happy, and I'm going to hit him with my damn club. I
Get
actually
over it, Steve.
Agreed.
I posted that on Facebook, and they sent me a warning that it was a violent post. I'm like, Gus the Groundhog's not even real, man. Like, I see people saying F this person up, and I'm like, I said, if I see him in the ground, I'm going to hit him with a club. Oh, that's not. So anyway.
And then you'd be happy.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'd be happy by beating Gus the Groundhog. Okay. So we're going to start with you, Ann. What's something you can improve about yourself?
Definitely my health. That's definitely something that I'm always working on, but it's like, yeah, you're not quite doing enough here. So that's something I can absolutely improve.
Okay. Dan, what can you improve on?
You stole the words right out of my mouth, Ann. I'm walking about 5 miles a day now. I feel great, but health, the older you get, you start thinking about things like that. That's very important. And by the way, I liked Ann and Andrea's success stories better than mine, because I tended to focus on the money aspect, and I like the way they focused on that. So I need to improve that.
But the more money you make is the more beers you can buy me.
Yeah,
Because I'm never buying you a beer.
Money's always been one of those things. I went this way and money went the other way. So that's always been something with me. That's why money is such a thing in my life. And that's why, to me, that's why I answer what I answer with success, because I don't want to worry about that stuff anymore. So,
okay. Andrew, what can you improve about yourself?
I'm definitely gonna hop on this health thing. You know why, Steve? I told you about that before, but health is important. And I think when we're so busy with other things, sometimes, you know, I know with me, I'm just like, screw it. I have to do this. Got to get up today, got to keep going. And sometimes I just overlook that, and it's not something to overlook. So that, and I would say a negative mindset, for me, I'm always trying. Some days I hear myself and I'm like, that's not a good attitude, then like what are you going to achieve? How are you going to continue the day like sounding like this? So sometimes it's that broken record and just, kind of giving yourself a little bit of like, you know, an ass kick. Like, okay, I need to have a better attitude here to change the day. So
Okay.
call it attitude.
All right. So I met you all through networking. That's how everyone meets now. It's just you don't really. It's what every business is now.
Yeah.
That being said, we'll start with you, Andrea. What do you like about networking? I mean, there's something. I mean, for me, I like meeting people, but but I don't go out to meet people. Like I'm not one of these people that networks to be popular, because I'm like, I don't need that shit. I don't, some people do network to be popular, and it's funny. They're like, hey, look at us. I'm like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. What do you like about networking, Andrea?
I love talking to people. I like hearing their stories. I find it comforting sometimes and encouraging to know that you're not by yourself all the time going through the things that, I'm going through with business. And then, you kind of start to open up with other people and hear, the same thing. So it's kind of like a comforting thing and support. Um, And at the same time, you're working your business too because they're getting to know you as a person and then not only about your business but who you are as a person, which I think is even more important than just knowing, hey, I'm a designer. Oh yeah, she does this, she does that, but knowing who I am as a person is important. So I love to meet people and make connections there.
Okay, Dan, what do you like about networking?
I'm going to plagiarize from you, Steve, and use that word organic networking because, a year and a half or so I've known you, you planted that seed in my mind about like the different kinds of networking. And I've tried the subscription model, networking events who we all know. And I don't enjoy those except for one, I do. But I like events like yours, right? It's organic, like new people are coming in and I treat this that, I'm the face of my business. So when I go out, I'm representing my company. And like Andrea said, I generally like meeting these people. So the people I know, I always make time to go talk to them and if anything's new or whatever. But then those new people I never met before, wow, that's someone, new to have in my professional network. And I love meeting people.
You know, it's funny at my event, I never get to talk to people because there's always people coming in, and and I always worry like someone new. Oh, how'd you find out about? Oh, and then I go, oh, well, then meet this person. So it's just weird. I never actually get to sit down and talk to anyone, but I'm all right with that. And what do you like about networking?
Yeah, so I actually love seeing a lot of familiar faces, which I know is not necessarily great for my business because they already know what I do, but just to kind of connect with people. Dan and I were at a networking thing where we were both
Table
set
buddies.
up. Yeah, absolutely set up as vendors and our tables were right next to each other. I was like, Dan, I haven't
Yeah.
seen you in a little while. So I like to see familiar faces. I'm also really interested in what people do. There's so many, I feel like so many people do really interesting things. And so it's nice to hear about what others are doing in their professional life.
Okay, we're gonna stay with you. What do you not like about networking?
Sometimes if I don't know people, then sometimes I feel a little awkward. I don't necessarily want to, I don't think anybody really likes just walking up to a group and being like, hi, particularly when a conversation is already going on. So I think it can sometimes be a little bit awkward if you don't know too many people in the room already.
Okay, Dan, what do you not like about networking?
You're having a conversation and someone just butts right in on you. Like there's like kind of some like unwritten etiquette that, you either know it or you don't know it. And, they butt in, you're right in the middle of like, a story or a concept or something. Oh, hey, I'm, Bill from, blah, 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 blah. Here's my card. It's like, come on, man. Like, you just totally blew the whole. Now I forgot what I was saying. Thanks a lot. And then then the people that show up for all the pictures, like you got to get the picture. And I mean, I'm in pictures. I mean, I don't know if I'm guilty of that or whatever, but those people that just go to be seen. It's like, I'm here to network, I'm here to meet people, I'm here to grow my business.
All right. How about you, Andrea? What do you not like about networking?
I get network burnout. A couple of my friends that I go with and network with, we talk about this all the time. It is an aspect of business that you have to do. You have to promote yourself. Um, I overbook myself. I schedule a lot of network events and then I end up, spiraling like, oh my God, like I can't do this because it's a lot to promote yourself. Like I said, or like Ann said, just to approach people, multiple people over and over again. And it can get tiring. I love it I love it, but then at the same time, I'm like, okay, I think I need to take a break and get back to it, maybe next week or something. Like it is a lot.
Okay, this is a name drop alert. You hear this? It's a name drop alert. I was at a networking. It was someone I don't like. I was at a networking event and I was talking to this person, and I was introduced, and they heard about the Coop Tank, and the guy was asking me these questions like, "Would you ever do this panel? Would you spend this panel?" Like I'm like, no. And as soon as I said no, he just wanted nothing to do with me. But what's funny is the night before I was hanging out with Keanu Reeves, so that guy can get the hell out of here. Okay, not Keanu Reeves. That was my little name drop. Keanu Reeves, people. Okay, so books. I'm not a business book reader. I think Dan is. I know Dan is, and I'm sure I don't know if Andrea and Ann are. I think Ann is. I'm not sure about you, Andrea. Everyone reads business books. There's something that business book Anne's grabbing one right now. People have business books that have made a difference for them. They go, oh, this really made a difference, and there's all different, like the Minute Manager and the Go Giver and all that. And since you grabbed the book, what's a book that's made a difference to you?
So I actually have two. One is Trading in the Zone, which is all about trading, so not necessarily applicable to everybody. But this is a book that was written by the founder of my company, and it's Find Your Hidden Strengths by Matt Poole. And it's all about playing the odds to your favor. We all have things that we're good at and not good at. And so identifying those things and building on improving on your weaknesses, but playing to your strengths as well. So those are two that I've really enjoyed. But there's a ton of authors out there. I'm always into self-improvement. A lot of great stuff out there that I really enjoy.
Okay. How about you, Dan?
I have several books on deck, but right now I'm reading Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. It's a concept where you don't, you get your income, you pay your taxes, you pay yourself, and nothing's left over. And you wonder why you're not making a profit. Here you take the profit first, and then you pay the taxes, and then you pay your operations and things like that. So it's an interesting concept. E-Myth Revisited is on deck. And then I've rediscovered cookbooks. Like I got away from cookbooks because I don't like, everybody comes out with a cookbook, but I got for Christmas, I got Anthony Bourdain Lay Hall recipes, like when the restaurant he worked at. It's really cool. Like I'm like really revisiting. I've actually snuck a couple of those in on my dinners too. So
And I gave you my cookbook, Stop the Salt.
I have your cookbook. It's
All
on my
right.
Anne showed her, but like right here to my left is my bookshelf. You
It
can't
sucks.
see.
It sucks, but it's all right. I wrote one.
I don't want to hurt your feelings. Yeah, it sucks.
I know it does. It does. I'll be honest. It was something I made. I wanted to get it done. Andrea, any books you're reading, or it's something that's made a difference in a business book, or it can be a personal book?
So I have to look up the name because I know he is with Shark Tank, but it's Robert Herjavec and it's called Driven.
Yeah.
It was a great business book in the sense that it speaks about no one's journey is the same, so everyone's unique. So don't focus on, other people's paths but your own. That was, a great thing to learn, like just kind of hear someone talk about that. Not, I think sometimes we look, in other directions too, and it's important to know that we have to keep our own, you know, direction in our success. So that was one of them. It's probably like one of the ones that I like the most, to be honest with you.
All right.
Can't think of any others like.
Maybe I'll read. Maybe I'll read one of them. Nah, I won't. But I might. I might. So here's my what I like to bitch about. I always like to bitch about LinkedIn, but I love LinkedIn. That's how I get in touch with people. That's how I built my network. And I always stuff irks me. Okay, I'm sorry. Like now, I don't know. Maybe it's me, but in the last 6 months, the amount of narcissism on LinkedIn is blowing me away. Like everybody is always posting these pictures and the bullshit AI gravitated, and you know it's AI because like, oh, and they're always telling me what I'm doing wrong. Like they'll do a post and they'll go, you know, you're doing this wrong, but I know everything. You know, and it blows my mind, and I see it all the time. But I need to stay on LinkedIn because I like to promote my stuff and I like to get guests. So Andrea, is there anything you don't like about LinkedIn?
I'll be honest with you. I've been told that I have to use LinkedIn a lot more Instagram and Facebook. So, professionally, you know, I think LinkedIn, well, according to what you say, I would assume is more professional, like, you know, rather than more social. But no, you'll have to inform me of that because that's something that I would need to know. I mean,
Okay.
I see some good articles on there sometimes when I'm on there. Like I usually it's more I like to pull a lot of interior design articles and you know, social media or discussions from there. But as far as anything else, I'm not too familiar to be honest with you. So
Okay, it's no problem. That's it. That's good. It's good. Dan.
I don't necessarily have it out for LinkedIn. You know, I have the most followers on LinkedIn, and yeah, it's just social media in general. Like to be honest with you, I hate social media. Okay, there, everyone has said it. I hate social media. Before I started my business, I swore off social media for like 5 years, and I never felt better. But then, of course, you know, when you have a business, you have to go on there and you have to do the thing. But to your point, Steve, you said that you know, the people telling you you're doing it wrong, this is what you have to do. This is what we as business owners are competing against. There's consumers of of social media and producers of social media, right? And there's so much consumption out there that takes up people's times and energy. And sometimes your message falls flat. So you always have to stay ahead of the curve and I try to stay in my lane. Here's my business. Here's some food pictures. Here's how to contact us, you know, and in and out, easy, you know.
All right. How about you, Ann?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love LinkedIn, but I, like everybody else, think that it's a necessary piece of my business. I have to be on there and I have to be promoting myself and my business there. I just find the content to be a little dry for everybody. It's because it does have that, this is a professional space. And so I think everybody keeps their stuff kind of dry. And I don't necessarily know that none of us on here need our content to be dry because we're not brain surgeons, so we don't have to be really formal in how we present things. So for me, I just would like people to be a little bit less a little bit more playful maybe.
Okay. Just if you guys come to my next comedy show, I'm going to work on my I have a motivational speaker bit, so you'll like it. I did it one night. I was improv at a show in Hamilton, and someone was like, "That's right on." So I talk about if you have to come, people, you have to come to see the show on June 27th at Soundplex Studios, Speakeasy Stand Up, and I will do that bit. And if I don't do it, I'll go, Cooper, do the bit, and I'll do it. So here's the final question. Someone comes up to you. They can be, your daughter. It could be, because you all have children. It can be a child. It can be a fellow professor, someone who's starting their career over. It could be someone who got out of college or they got out of trade school, and they go, man, what am I supposed to do in the business world? Like they're looking at you for you to be their mentor. Okay, they're asking you, what paths do I take? Dan, what advice do you give them?
Oh boy. Thanks for calling me first. Well, I tell you what, man, I've become like anti-college since I went on my own, because that path of working for other people is just so lame. Like it's just, I can't believe I spent so much of my life. Like, why did I take so long to go on the entrepreneurial path? So my advice would be to follow what you love. And it happened to be cooking for me. And it took me 30 years to figure out that that's what I want to do when I grow up and do something. So for these kids, like the advice I would give them is like, don't be like me and wait till you're, much older. Like, imagine if you started something now and you built this, at your young age in your early 20s. By the time you're my age, you're going to be a multi-gazillionaire. Go down the path of your own, man. Find what you like and go with it. Don't rely on that safe paycheck, because it's not safe. You'll get bumped by some kid coming out of college. You're going to get laid off in a bad economy. It's, follow your own dream, man.
Okay, Andrea, what advice?
This is gonna be, I think this is gonna sound strange, but I think it's good advice. So what Dan said, so it took me 20 years to figure out what I was passionate about, what I was good at. You could ask me in my 20s and 30s and sit down with me and say, what do you like to do? Oh, I don't know. Well, what are you good at? I don't know. I mean, seriously. So there's kids out there who have no clue what to do or what path to go down. Why? Because they haven't had a chance to get to know themselves. And I feel like you have to know yourself good enough to be able to do that. So I think the one thing that I would recommend to a young person, maybe it's get a good life coach. Maybe it's someone sitting down with you. Forget your parents, forget this, forget that. Just sit down and talk to somebody about you. Maybe they can bring it out of you. It wasn't until a girlfriend talked to me after my divorce, and she's like, I don't believe you're sitting here saying you're not good at anything. I can't believe. She's like, every single person that walks through this place or comes through your houses that you've redone or flips, whatever, always comments about your work. So what do you mean you're not good at anything? Like, so I think that might be a good answer to maybe have somebody talk to you about what you like, to get to the depths of what you want as a person, so that you can, make your own road and journey, and it will be fulfilling instead of following other people or what your parents want, or, something like that.
Okay, how about you, Ann?
Yeah, I agree with Dan and Andrea on all of their points. I would just add to that I think it's important to stay open and be flexible. All of us on here have had different turns and changes in our professional path, and I think based on what everyone is saying, we're all happy with where we are now. And we wouldn't be if we hadn't been open and flexible to making changes. So I think that's important. What you think you want at 18 might be completely different than what you want at 28, 38, 48. And so if you're not willing to change, and possibly take a different path, if that's the right path, then you're going to miss out on opportunities.
All right, this has been great. Now, Dan, how can people get in touch with you, Dan?
Great. So if you don't see me out networking, I'm always out 2 to 3 times a week. But our website, modernclassicalchefs.com, by phone at 856-332-5769, or by email, dan@modernclassicalchefs.com.
Andrea.
My company's name is Andrea Locke Interior Design, LLC. It can be found on Instagram and on Facebook. My email is Andrea Locke with an E at the end, 12@gmail.com. And of course, you can always reach out and call 732-492-6705.
And how about you, Ann?
Yeah, so the website is currencytradesystem.com. My cell phone number is 609-471-3655. And my email is Anne with an E, ANNE, at currencytradesystem.com.
So people reach out to me if you need their services. My email is the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. I'm not giving you my number. My number is not even on my business card because I don't want people calling me. And I'll be honest, I get people that call me and like, I had one guy sit there and he wanted to network with me, do a one-on-one, and he had his assistant call me. And I was like, no, man, you call me. I don't meet, no, that's bullshit. So don't call me. But the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. Go to YouTube, check out past shows of the Coop Tank, rate us, subscribe. There's always great information from my guests. The CooperTalk.net's my entertainment podcast. You can find over 1,011 episodes up there. June 27th, Soundplex Studios, Speakeasy Stand-Up. It's always a great show. We have Norm Clark and headliner Missy Hall. You can email me at the CoopTank at yahoo.com to get more information on that. And don't forget to check out SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com. Joe Gangemi kicks ass at what he does. That's why I'm here. That's why he's my producer. And you can email them at hello@suiterecording.com. Y'all have a great weekend. I'm Steve Cooper, and I will talk to you next time.